QS Warriors has yet to make it onto that championship tour. In contrast, this man right here, Wade Carmichael, our top seed. Just saw him over at the Freshwater Pro. He would have finished his day, jumped in a plane, got here, and literally probably had one free surf, and now he's in a jersey. The life of a QS, yeah.
Yeah, Wade. I'm staying with Wade here, and he actually told me he was flying in Sunday, so I flew in Sunday. And I was speaking to him on Saturday afternoon. Yeah, I was in the second heat this morning. The waves, the tide got pretty high, which was quite difficult, but I managed to get a couple of waves and sneak through. So, yeah, hopefully in my next one, I'm coming up in like 3 heats time. So, hopefully in my next one, I can find a few more waves and, yeah, make another heat.
But so, does that put you in heat 4 or 5?
4.
So, heat 4 up against Michael Rodriguez, Christian Camerson, and Vasco Ribeiro.
Aren't you picking me up from the airport at like 10 o'clock tomorrow morning? He's like, yeah, tomorrow morning. Sunday. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I leave in 24 hours from here. And I was like, 24 hours is past when you said you're picking me up. And he's like,
he didn't do very good now.
Monday. And I was like, oh, you idiot. But he got here all good yesterday. We had a fun surf last night. And here we are, the Brazilians and local boy Vasco. So pretty exciting stuff coming up.
Well, the voice of Cooper Chapman joining us from the booth. Of course, second surf of the morning also for Ethan Ewing. He jams that tail nicely. So some good input coming early in this first heat of the round of 96. If you're just joining us,
I think he's one of the best surfers in the world, to be completely honest, in my opinion. But yeah, you'll see on this wave, nice carve.
Just a testament to how hard it is.
Yeah, bang. Yeah, exactly. That's how hard it is. He's one of the best surfers, and with some of the work he's doing with Snake, I can see him going really far and getting back on tour where I believe he belongs. That's a nice finish. Probably 2 of the best point surfers in the world, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the other guys fare against them.
Just getting the silhouette of Flavio Nakajima on screen there, just getting a little hung up for his opener. Made a reference to it when we were talking with Ian Crane earlier in one of those heats, Pete. If you don't have the brain power, you don't have the mental plan, and that's, I think, really where the coaches are making a difference. So just watching live action here, wave number 2 unfolding for Ethan Ewing. Strong start with the A33. Now will lay a good foundation for the heat here. Good rail work showing us that Ethan Ewing means business.
Well, we would just take from his experience last year, big number. It helped him to get the solid start that he had, to be able to surf in the bigger events in the beginning of the season. But it's a matter of, you can get into those bigger events, but you better make a few heats while you're in them, right?
Yeah, for sure. These primes are everything to us.
And all staying up late watching it. But yeah, I definitely surprised myself in that one, but it was cool.
I've got to ask you, what's going on with the Central Coast? You guys just can't go wrong. We've got Wade Carmichael in the water right now.
Need to start making those heats with 11 and 12 points that other guys are making it to quarters and semis, just sort of scratching through those 5 and 6 point heats. But I haven't had a year like that, and yeah, I'll take it on the chin and hopefully make a few more heats here and bring it home in Hawaii, really.
It looks like he's been doing his homework, because I can tell this is a very strong mind right there.
Yeah, it's a more mature version of Cooper Chapman too, right?
Yeah, for sure. The last couple of years, I don't have a sponsor now. It's been his Wado, actually. What's he got? Ooh, going down.
So you're kind of where Stewie Kennedy was about 5 years ago. Back to some hard labour, speculating the qualifying series still, and kind of mixing that life back up, based out of the East Coast.
Spoke to him before the heat. What are the odds of that?
Right.
The production manager came into me before and he goes, I was like, let me do Wade's heat. And then I spoke to him. I was like, oh, you know what if you break your board? He's like, don't worry, I'll put it in right on the beach. So it's all good.
That's what he's doing.
And then he breaks his board. The synergy's pretty funny. But no, I'm glad I'm in here out of the rain, sitting here for a little bit before going to get ready for my heat. Just think when people break boards, I feel like half the time go out and look better on their other board.
There's that sense of urgency because they've lost a couple of minutes in the equipment switchover as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's that letting go, I don't like to say it, but having that kind of excuse if you lose, I had to come in, I lost my board.
Broke my board.
Then you get back out there and you kind of go, oh well, I just throw it all out. Wade's lucky.
Position, of course, we have 6 days to put this QS 10,000 together. Start breaking things down and draw it to the attention in the lineup. This is a good input from Flavio Nakajima, Pete.
Yeah, well, the last one, this is it right here. I was mentioning how it was a pretty good wave. Judges went solid with it. It was a 6.83, and the inside section worked for him, going straight up vertical, connecting with the lip. Had the outside work done.
Is he here, Pete?
Yes, he is. Needed to back up that 6.83, and it looks like he has done it on this wave. And that's the ease of when you get a pretty good number, especially one that's like that one, the 6.83. It's been kind of hard to come by this morning. It makes it that much easier just to go out and back it up as quickly as you can. And there's one nice connection with the lip there. That was going to be at least one somewhat major turn on this wave.
You're a average person just working at a cash register. We all have hard days, we all have easy days, and I think just sharing stories on ways to deal with it.
And not to keep it in the closet, right? To get it out on the table.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's one of the slogans I guess we have in Australia. It ain't weak to speak. And yeah, I think just asking for help so important. Yet we all, especially as men, some of the stats in Australia are crazy. I mean, not easy.
Well, amazing words from Cooper Chapman here in the booth with us. That's highs and lows and all the stories in between. Right now, back to the action as we draw down to 2.5 minutes to go. This is the Kalani ball trying to squeeze a number out of it, guys. First required. It's a similar story for Wade Carmichael. It's all about the highs and lows of this journey on the tour. You see the figure of Ethan Ewing there, who looks like he's going to be through the next round, gentlemen.
And again, her mantra wasn't like, hit the lip. No, it was be kind to people next to you. That was what her mantra was, which is an example.
I saw that after she won. That was really cool to see that, especially obviously with the work I'm doing. I love to see people.
See that onshore breeze just steadily. In fact, it's a good thing that the harder the wind blows right now, the better, Pete, as the winds will rotate through the compass points. We are just hearing in our ears that we will get competition underway again, because we wrapped up the first heat of the round. Strongest mental and physical warriors to qualify to championship tour level.
Yeah, that's the ones that can deal with the roller coaster of the QS schedule.
And including heat stops from time to time. Here's a man that's had a taste of it in 2019. Western Australian talent Jacob Wilcox, now in the 4-man heat. There's 2 Australians for this one, Wilcox and Banting. Slightly different stories for both of them, as we just see the wave face with a little bit of bump at the end. Of course, by the time you hit those steps at the end, it is way over to the bottom of the lineup. This lineup can, from time to time, resemble Bell's Beach. We often draw parallels. Think back over the years.
Wilcox's first wave here looks like to be a pretty good one, especially the connection with that first straight up vertical hit and the second, this time whipping the fins, and then a third. So this could be a good number for Wilcox to get started here. This is a really tough heat. You've got guys like Rio Nava, Joaquin Del Castillo, the judge that we saw there, the last shot, Etienne Baez. He has just been on a lot of planes recently, going from Japan. He was there as a WSL representative in the judging panel in the ISA World Games, traveling around. It's been a very busy time for those judges, especially the ones that share duties on the QS as well as the CT.
Well, qualifying series action continues amongst the challenge of the weather this morning. Of course, well, in fact, when I say good morning, I can't say that anymore. It's now good day. It's midday through day one of competition. And Del Castillo, one of the Peruvian competitors. Great to have that South American representation in this 112.
You can put some emphasis on, we used to be calling it the Prime Series, and that was kind of the start of it. And they're kind of going back to that model.
Let's get stuck into some action here. 23 minutes remaining, so 7 minutes into this encounter. If you're just with us, it is the fourth QS 10,000 of the year, the EDP Billabong Pro Ericeira. And there's a lot of celebrations in the area as well. Pete, 30th edition in the region.
The wave quality up there is good, and they've been a part of it and had a invested interest in it. And then there's this one here, which is another great wave that obviously produces, it's very reliable as far as QS is concerned in producing quality surf.
Well, this man's been reliable all season long. Maddie Banting comes to Ericeira sitting 6th on the qualifying series. His surfing is on point in 2019. He is fitter, stronger, carrying a little bit more weight and able to knife his rails through some steps on the face there, but lacking a backup at this stage. But we saw a 4.67 play a part in the opening heats this morning, so we won't discard that score just yet. Meanwhile, from behind the section, massive hit there for the Peruvian.
Yeah, Del Castillo.
Oh, fell out the sky for that one.
That was a major turn, so he'll get some points for that. That was, definitely critical on a sizable set wave on the outside.
Of course, we will see conditions improve throughout the afternoon here. As we stick with live action. Nice fluid lines from, well, there are so many goofy footers coming out of the South Americas. not just mentioning Brazil in that, of course, Chile and Peru.
Well, Chile and Peru, they'd have to say that's the land of the lefts. You know, you sit at the proximity in which it is on the coastline, very south, in the southern hemisphere. The storms come from the southwest.
Board riders clubs around the entire Australian coastline are able to tap into that system and just bring that support from the mental health issues. So great stuff. Of course, Cooper Chapman will be in heat preparation. Good snap on the inside here as we draw attention to the heat. Again, the Peruvian has got a very silky smooth style, is fetching some numbers for us here, Pete. Previous one a 4, but we feel that one's going to go north of it.
Well, he's sitting outside. You can see him punching through this wave as we watch a surfer stand up. So there's a significant difference in the takeoff of where you can take off at this break. You can take off way outside, or you can go inside and score some inside sections and be able to add some points as well.
Rio Naba with that priority is about to lock in a good wave here for Jacob Wilcox at the 14-minute remaining mark. This is heat leader Jacob Wilcox, who's putting together his numbers slowly but efficiently in this heat. This Wilcox a 5.83 for the starter, Pete, and he's trying to build his numbers while the judges bring us that score for Jacob Wilcox. World Surf League's qualifying series with a foggy outline over the shape of Matt Banting as the Australian will just ramp over a strong end section. There's the lineup here: Ribeira de Illis playing host to the 4th QS 10,000 of the year. European talent like that man. Flexing and warming up for the next heat, Tristan Gilbao will be up in number 3.
Oh, Rio.
Finally, we see him.
And he goes down.
And then we don't.
Yeah, I mean, he held that priority for 20 minutes, 19 minutes to be exact. And he gets his first wave and unfortunately goes down quickly, and here's Wilcox.
Rio Naba will have to go to plan B if he wants to start chasing the heat. This is the man that is showing the pace for it. Jacob Wilcox. Nice crack in the pocket there for the Australians. Putting together a good heat for us here. Good rail work. A little glitch there at the end, but that is that part right down near the cliff face itself. There's a little bit of reverb that comes off that. This is going to be a good input though.
Especially with the tide, you know, it's on the fuller side, not extra full, but I think this is going to go into his top 2. There was 2 nice turns. You know, if you've known this name, he has been able to compete at the highest level on the championship tour. Never made it into the top 10 where he's had a full run, but he's had some wild card opportunities, many wild card opportunities. You're forced to, in a way, because
time's ticking.
Yeah, time's ticking, and the opportunities aren't going to be as quickly, and you got to gain points in order to get those starts. Here we go.
Well, Matt Banting, heat leader, just exploring opportunities in the lineup here. As we mentioned already, 7s and 6s for the heat leader. Rio Inaba is just not in. That was just his second wave, by the way. So an absolute dismal performance. And these are the highs and lows, folks. It is the qualifying series. Big hit. One of the better single maneuvers we've seen for the Peruvian in green. He's chasing a 7.7, Pete. I'm not sure we'll get a 7.7 out of a single maneuver.
Safe to say, just from what we've seen throughout this afternoon, it is a very nice single turn. Good commitment. Was able to get the tail whipped across, so a bit more difficulty added to it.
The heat is pretty much almost set. Every now and then, you know, the story of qualifying series heats is you get those buzzer beaters. As we see Banting, heat leader, just step floats, medium-sized waves. So he'll squeeze this one all the way down to the inside. I feel this may be his last input for the heat. Because Banting sitting 6 on the qualifying series will put a lot of pressure on himself to get that big number here in the QS 10,000.
This is Lawler on a smaller wave for Geordie here. He'll just keep on swinging through and just kind of speculating for a strong finish, which he will need, we think, on this wave.
The World Surf League's qualifying series welcomes you back to one of the iconic venues of European surfing. It's Ribeira de Ilhas in Ericeira for the EDP Billabong Pro. Heat 3 of round 2's out in the water.
Goes out with the tide. We're getting some real sort of chunky walls out there, Paul.
Big leap up in amplitude, and here goes Gilbo with a ton of speed as he'll kind of set up with a long arc on the rail. And he's got a big wall of water in front of him, just checking back, staying with that foam in the power center of the wave. Nice little jam on the rail for Tristan. Such a smart competitor, and this wave will get kind of chunky in front of him. Getting inside to have a go at. Here goes Sibilik, who was so impressive in Galicia. The young Aussie. Absolute breakthrough performance from him. He will swing down onto an inside, post a first number on the board.
Yeah, that's right. That's chunky. As we see, Sibley just cracking that first turn. Morgan, he sort of splits his time between Newcastle and Yamba. So two sort of hotbeds, of the East Coast. Great sort of surfing heritage sort of locations.
Kind of a quiet-ish qualification from him. He sort of came in a little bit under the radar on the Championship Tour. Not been a great year for him so far. Here he is in live action. Let's watch him swinging down here. And he'll drop a little hammer, and he surfed this wave all the way back in the juniors, knows a lot about it. And swooping round, jamming. Lovely use of that rail. Big amplitude in that turn, going all the way from the top to the bottom of the wave. There's the drift on the inside, and he'll get a good finish as well. So, a little bit of hang time, a little bit of release, and nails it on the inside.
Kind of technically sound surfer. Had a good year on the QS, obviously, to make it. It just hasn't been able to get even just that one breakthrough result that I think would give him all the confidence he needs to push on. You see this surfing here, what he's got. He's got that mix of flair, he's got power, he's got an air game, he's done well at pipe, so he's a really complete surfer as he finishes really strong. He's obviously running out of time.
Well, let's go with live action here. Tristan Guilbeault out of France. And kind of swoop through here. And he's just jamming that board, just kind of S-ing from rail to rail, wait for the wave to stand up. Get a little snap in the pocket. And then he'll just project over a lip that's already throwing. So it will be a score for Tristan. He's already got 4 on the board, and he'll replace his 0.5 back up.
A poor year, but came back strong, and hopefully Solly, if that happens, he can do the same.
Jordan Lawyer grabbing rail off the bottom turn and swinging high. A little stinging snap just underneath the lip. And he'll jam again. Nice use of the rail going from the bottom to the top, unweighting on that front foot onto the back, displacing plenty of water. This wave will deliver the power. It's all about our surfers just to put their board up in the most technical and tricky parts of the wave. And Lawyer there, well, trying to finish real strong in front of that rock, sticking out down there, won't get a completion. And this is Geordie Lawyer going with it.
This is the 627, Paul. This is on his backhand, obviously. Geordie Lawler had a strong start to the year down in Manly. Hasn't been able to sort of back that up, but with surfing like this, you can see why he's sort of heading up the rankings. Pretty smooth, not a whole lot of critical turns, no fins out, but he managed to rack up 6 or 7 turns in the pocket and just failed to finish there. Getting a 6.27, he'll be happy with that start. And this man here's Morgan Sibilic, so he too got off to a strong start. That really nice smooth style we were talking about before, groomed on some of the point breaks. Just ended up with a 7, Paul Evans, so another start. You see the waves improving, it's hitting that reef better, there's more options, more sections. Crikey, you got about 8 or 9 at least turns in, so
exactly timed sweetly. Let's see how the judges process that. We reckon it'll be another real healthy number. Here goes Lawyer in live action on a bit of a slopey face. He'll have to just stand here and wait for this one to get up in front of him. And he'll kick up a little snap, and then he'll bring in with a little belt on the inside. And again, similar to his previous effort, he's found wanting on that inside section. It's tough for all the backhanders in there.
The longer the period, the more powerful the swell, and the bigger the waves effectively. So it's coming. It's just hopefully you'll just be able to hug onto this reef enough for great waves.
Frenchman Guilbeault here, swinging on a slightly smaller, softer wave. Got a little bit caught up, didn't he? And it just knocked his timing a wee bit as he hit that lip. Just a tiny bit of wobble went through it. We will wait for a score to drop in for Tristan Guilbeault. It's not going to be a massive number for him. Morgan Sibilic and Geordie Lawyer, 2 of our 3 Aussies in this heat with the best of things. There's Cooper Chapman, who had in the booth earlier, just getting kind of psyched up, getting fired up, ready to do combat in the very next heat. And this is Lawler on a smaller wave for Geordie here. He'll just keep on swinging through and just kind of speculating for a strong finish, which he will need, we think, on this wave. And he'll just bring that one down to a little steep double up section now on the inside and look for a finish. That's a few attempts he's had on that manoeuvre on the inside, and he stomps it on that occasion. It's kind of starved our competitors of wave action. Well, this one, we've had quite a lot of it, and it'll just keep continuing here. Here goes your heat leader, fading into a bowl. Sibilic, who's been deadly in Europe this September, looking really, really sharp. Got a foamy section here. Does really well to just out-muscle it, just imposing himself physically on the wave, making a real good job of that. We'll get a little steep section run through in this whitewater, and just showing the variety. That was a sweet little throw of the tail doesn't get a completion.
His way though was very impressive with Morgan Sibilic. Just a smaller way, but it sort of hugs the reef, and it's also very foamy. But he's driving through that foam. There's very little sort of wobbles in between his turns. He's looking stylish and smooth, driving up, and that would have been the absolute icing on the cake if he would have pulled that off.
All right, here goes our Frenchman Gilbo with a nice committed rail turn out the bat, and he has to give way because priority is with our championship surfer Solly Bailey, who forced the issue a little bit there, committed a rail on the way that was sort of softening up slightly, that one pushing a bit wider, Ben.
Solly's not in a position to, blocking's not really an option at the moment. He needs some big scores, and Gilbao gets another throw at this set out the back.
Holding the rail turn with the speed on the outside section. Now we'll get a little wall stand up for him, and he'll just kind of clip underneath the foam in a slightly unusual manoeuvre, which gets him a little bit caught as well, just grabbing his rail and never really getting a chance to tee off on that thing. It's been a bit disappointing so far in the opening 20 minutes from Tristan. Still waiting for that number to drop in. We'll see Solly Bailey in the red singlet jamming a nice rail turn on an outside section that stood up for him sweetly. Now he needs to get on the gas, and he takes on a big lip and just drifts a tail out sweetly, lands it with composure, and then a whole load of white water will just kind of avalanche down in front of him.
But yeah,
still got a 6.27 for that without the finish, so good stuff from Lloyd. Good enough for second place. This is our leader though, and we'll see an alley-oop attempt which was never really fully committed to, just kind of throwing it away a little bit, just checking out the equipment. Nothing untoward seemed to be happening down there. We'll get down towards that 5-minute morning, just kind of cleaning up between waves as well, which is pretty important here at Ribeira del Haz. Your main enemy can be kind of sections that break wide and then stop your opportunity to get on open face. Let's see an effort of Bailey. A great energetic first turn from him. You see how much spring he's got in his technique, but just as I saying that about the wave sectioning, that's exactly what happens there for Solly. Just sit a little bit inside as well. Meanwhile, speaking of sitting inside, here's a little effort from our heat leader Morgan Sibilic, who will just try and fade into a little small kind of softer number here, and eventually he'll get in. So still a bit of time left on the clock, but it looks like just bringing this all the way through to the inside and just swinging down here. No real major manoeuvres of particular damage so far scoreboard wise. As we see behind, there's an effort from Surfer in second place, did use that priority, Geordie Lawyer, and he will go down on a little bit of a deep section. He'll now leave Solly Bailey in the lineup, the CT Surfer in red, with over a minute to go. Will Solly get an opportunity? Not sure if this one will get to him in time. He really wants it to. He's kicking that legs, trying to find this. Here goes Gilbo out the back himself, looking for 7.97. It's a bomb. It's a huge first turn from the Frenchman. He gets a little bit back on his heels on that recovery, and he'll just have to wait out a little bit of a foamy deep spot here. Still swinging, so he needs to go in the excellent range with this Tristan. And he'll find an inside down here. It gets nice and steep for him, and he'll get a little jam on the rail. Not a massive scoring manoeuvre, going a little bit side to side and a little bit through the motions, and you can kind of see that, the read on the body language, not really feeling it particularly. It's not going to be the 8 or above that he needs, and that's going to be the end of that one. Welcome back to Ericeira. It is a Tuesday afternoon on the western facing shores of Portugal, and we've got a swell on the increase down here at Ribeira del Haz, a right hand reef point break, offering up good opportunity for the best qualifiers in the world, and of course talent off the CT.
I've been having heaps of fun, and still a lot of year left, and this is probably one of the best parts too. I love coming over here, so got 5 more weeks in Europe. I'm ready to enjoy it all.
Cool. Let's just get caught up here with Michael Rodriguez in the red, as he'll just work one over and bring that all the way through to the inside. So this is a replay from during our break, and Amrod's travelled a whole lot of distance in here before he'll get a chance to kind of attack into the lip and just park the break. Behind him, Christian Carmichael Monday.
Yeah, Christian from Brazil on his backside, so driving down the line. A few worries, he's such a committed surfer. Christian really always in the water, always catching loads of waves. He's going all the way down.
I love when that word gets thrown around when it's going to be maxed out. It's going to be pretty good to see, and I don't think Christian's air game will come into play out here with the lumps and stuff. Maybe he could get a good section and throw one. That would be a great score.
Chapman on a little bit of a softer one here, just kind of having to wait for this one to stand up, and he'll go through to a little inside. So polished and stylish. That's a really well timed hit from Cooper, And nicely done. Back onto the front foot. Wow, and a great turn on the end for Cooper, which unfortunately he'll go down on.
Yeah, you saw that incomplete there for Cooper Wade. He obviously travel and talk a lot. What was did you have a bit of a chat before this heat? I mean, is it pretty straightforward what you got to do out there? Wade might be able to give us more of a sort of understanding of that. And there's Cooper Chapman as well. So the Sydney Surfer just waiting for this section. This is the one where we were hoping for that big finish, but it didn't really sort of happen as he lines up inside. And another one there. So he's looking really strong here, wasn't he, Wade? And just this last bit, and you talk about that wow factor, he had it.
What did Vasco do? He got a good one behind Coops.
This is Vasco, yeah. This is the way about the back. So this is a man that knows his way inside out. You talk about not manufacturing a section. Well, he didn't, and he just blew the tail out.
A lot of the QS spots, obviously Howden Beaches, you need a score, you want to get busy, you just come to the inside and get a little shory, look the flare up. Doesn't really work like that out here. You kind of need to stay in the lineup, stay out the back, wait for a set. He's found one. Driving off the bottom, big belt off the top. Good backhand surfing from Carmichael. And again, we'll just get a little redirect off that rail. Now he's got a ton of speed on a steep bowl in here. And he'll tag that one as well. Dealt well with that kind of explosion coming up at him on the whitewater. And just deals with a little inside in here. And there's a little bit of emphatic fist bump. He likes it.
See the Portuguese clapping, but this is Carmichael. This, to me, looked like could be a big score.
Good first turn. You got two good turns at the back. It's probably going to be one of the highest of the heat. We still haven't seen Cooper's 6-1 yet. It would be good to be able to compare them together. He kind of banged that thing all the way through.
It just stood up, didn't it, really well, and he likes it. Not always an indication of the wave score, but he definitely felt good about it.
Let's see, as we just wait for a final judge to lock in. Having a good think about this, as we'll see live action from Michael Rodriguez, the Brazilian at the Championship Tour. That wave just kind of doubled up a little bit out the back for him. And now he will just swing down onto this kind of mid-section here, where things can go kind of two ways. It'll either go kind of soft, which this one does. You see him just sort of standing on the tail, being patient. Now it'll stand up, and he'll flare up as he just throws a little bit of tail and won't get a completion on the inside. The last 10,000 before the North Shore, as we will see our heat leader flying down the line, and he will go to the air. We talked about the air game at the top of the heat. A little mid-wave claim as well, so he'll throw up arms at the judges and then carry on surfing, as he will just hop down onto a little inside section here. Still swinging and looking for an opportunity. I'm not sure one will come, and he likes it. He's fired up. Well, a decent air. Let's think about our Turkish Airlines Best Air Award as well. We've got an award for that.
Yeah, once we get a hold of it, we'll get Wade to just break it down for us.
He got a really good pop, and then that was huge actually. He should have just pulled off there. He pounced all the way to the shore, so he's got to paddle out another 5 minutes. This wave draws you really wide, and the paddle out just gets longer and longer.
I think you always lose a bit of credit when you ride after the claim as well, to be honest. I know you're not doing yourself any favours, but yeah, what an amazing turn.
He snuck another one in there as well.
Score's going to come in, 7-1-7 for Carmichael, consolidates his lead in first place. There's the look from the drone. Nice quick whippy rotation, almost kind of like a claim up to the judging panel with a 7. He'll lose the high and low, average out the rest. That's the number that comes in. 13-1-7, a reasonably healthy heat total for him. Meanwhile, his compatriot in the red singlet, Michael Rodriguez, on a bit of a softer wave here. And he's having to deal with a little bit of chatter as he'll get a little projection down out of the lip and a set-up turn, but almost looks like he's surfing into quite a strong rip as he goes with a big rotation on the end, a little bit behind it, and won't get a landing in there, Michael.
Good little line too. What do you got for us, Coops? Good first turn. Is it going to give him another one? Oh, he's done well. Finish it off, mate. 4.7's a pretty average score for today too, so I've called he's already got it now.
So Chapman will swing down onto the inside. A good size wave for him. And this is going to be close as he just stands on the tail looking to flare up on the inside. Doesn't want to do too much, just make sure he finishes, which he does. He's still not done yet. Another great hit from him. He'll surf out of view, and it looks like he's nailed that 4.76.
Called it. He just had to get an opportunity and then absolutely make the most of it. He did that. That was committed surfing. Those 2 turns out the back, they weren't easy.
Tricky
He didn't
section.
hold back. He didn't surf for 4.7. I think was probably quite a good ploy. You know, he surfed the wave as strong and as hard as he could, and then it's just sort of kept going down this end section. And Wade talked about during the heat about finishing off and just having that bit of flair, and he even managed to do that. That wave looks good, and there's another kick at the tail, and one more, and well,
Definitely, that was a good wave. That's probably going to be the best wave of the heat. 2 good turns at the back, surfed it through, and then did another 2 on the inside.
Let's see what our panel thought of that. But cool as a cucumber, Cooper Chapman just being patient.
The twists and turns of the tail of the qualifying series. Day 1 of the QS 10,000 coming to you from Portugal. About to join us for round 2, heat 5. We feature championship tour surfers in this round. This time João Duru is in the lineup, taking on Cam Richards, Marcus Correa, and Tanner Gadauskas.
Oh no, I know what a TV is, but a soap opera.
Yep, we have the soapies.
The soapies, you call them?
The soapies, yeah.
So this is as the QS turns. This is a soap opera. We're watching it unfold right now.
Sometimes a comedy as well, Pete. But it's a serious soapy at moments. There's Ericeira. This is Ribeiro del Iles. And this is Marcus Correa.
I like to call it Ribeiro de Delish. Delish?
That's too many pastel notches for you.
You're right. Have a nice warm one just now.
We're having a good time with it, folks. It is Portugal, the land of great waves and great cuisine. Of course, the west-facing shores of mainland Europe, 700 kilometers of coastline. This is one of those jewels in it. Yeah, it's a French jewel trying to gleam in the now coming sunlight this afternoon. João Duru. Lovely lines being drawn from our championship tour surfer. Of course, 15 of them making the trek over from the Freshwater Pro. Lost a couple as well, Pete. Losing Michael Rodriguez in that last encounter.
Yeah, and I think back, you pull out. I know that Chris Gallagher won here. So, one of the surfers I was traveling with at the time. Here we go, Tanner G.
Live action, Tanner to the top corner. See how he links. There are some waves that just run flat and then some that find a bowl. I was thinking, how did Vasco Ribeiro fall out of that last one? But Cooper Chapman did a great job of getting past him. And wave selection is key here. We'll talk about that a little more.
We are with the EDP Billabong Pro, Ericeira, and he's there. As you see, nice connection with the lip, carrying his speed well to set up that section. Didn't quite do the float there, set it up a little double up, but it didn't really transpire to much, as I recall. I think this wave stayed fairly flat, but does the busy work. He's going to get another pretty good number. Well, there you go. There was some section there at the end. Yeah, it's not easy, and you've got a very, very hungry QS crew that are just trying to snatch away those points from the CT competitors, because they've got to play a funny role, because they're going to be doing, there's those guys that are sitting on that cut line that end up probably doing just as many events in a season. Obviously, he has some, it's sitting on 8,720 points, so he has some opportunity here to pick up some points and get himself in a good position on the QS before the end of the season. And obviously, he wants to go into his home turf next week.
Another slot down, so no result for Michael Rodriguez here on the qualifying series QS 10,000 opportunity. Puts a lot of pressure on the up-and-coming 2 events in France and in Peniche, up the coast from us. And of course through to the north shore of Hawaii. It's going to be a busy last quarter of the year for everyone, but particularly for Michael Rodriguez.
Well, if you look at all of the CT surfers that are here, there are all of them that are pretty much in a situation qualification for next year's championship tour by coming here to the QS.
It's actually crunch time for everyone in some shape or form.
Well, it's interesting. Kanoe Igarashi, I think he loves this event, and that's why he comes to this event. He's entered as a draw. Federico, not on the CT this year, made his plan, and obviously can help him get some prize money. Look at this wall. Beautiful, big, solid wave for Marcos Correa. And you see, with that wind clocking around, it comes from a much more desirable direction, and it blows down the point, so the faces of the water will be nice and clean. There might be a little ruffle outside, but generally on the inside part of it, the actual wave protects the. We're going to add to that 3, and then also Cam Richards picking up his 3rd wave as well. The score actually came in, and it's an okay number. So got him into second, or also picking up a wave. And you can see conditions much nicer than we saw earlier as soon as that sun's come out. So that front looks like it's moving away. But see his pace. Just see how rails turn from inside rail to outside rail. There's no real pumping of his board. Just cruising, sitting off the back tail, letting that water move through the concaves.
Topic of discussion now in an all goofy foot heat. During the break, let's catch up on the action.
Well, yeah, 3 surfer who picked up waves during that. This is Marcos Correa looking at wave number 3 for him.
And he's got to put it into a whole year to make his way to the top 10 on this here qualifying series. Young surfer that's really only in his second year of campaigning is this goofy footer on screen, Marcos Correa. He's already sitting up in the 50s and maybe even higher than that, care of the Azores. And that was a great sting. There's a whole bunch of noise erupts behind us here in the athlete area. Correa, 2-turn combo on the inside with a good sting at the end. That will go a long way towards momentum. He does have to find an 8 to take the lead from Tanner Gadauskas. He has one of the best backhands in the business. Championship Tour surfer Jean Duru. Ooh, good reach in the top corner for Jean. Great value heat this. Now you Airbnb it.
Yeah.
Or in our case, you stay at U in the Sea.
Yes.
Quality accommodation being provided from our accommodation partners. But the Mafre Council have done a really good job of keeping that old school along with harnessing the new development in the area. See that wave just puff behind Jean Duru as he tries to up his pair of 6s. Currently owns the 6-5 and a 6 to the scoreline. And then he just rolled at a pace down the Ribeira de Ellis lineup to try and up a, well, he needs a 6-9-1 to reel in Tanner. Of course, the Mafre, as we mentioned, the Mafre municipality doing a great job with it. Ericeira just to the north of the capital of Lisbon, playing host to us here at the qualifying series as we get stuck back into it. This is Cam Richards, 4th place surfer with 6 minutes on the clock. He's got to get busy. And he'll just drop that. He was chasing a 7-4-3 Pete, and also Marcos Correa to get his campaign rolling here. He's down in 3rd looking for the 7-1-7, and here go our 3rd and 4th place surfers in the heat. And in an all goofy foot encounter, they're going to come up short. They'll have to go back to the drawing board. It's the experience of Tanner Gadauskas and Juan Duru right now in control of the heat.
Chiba Open, which is a big event that's been on the schedule for a long time now, and it's kind of a key event too for the transfer at the halfway cut mark to get a good result there, because then it'll help you to get into those bigger events for the back half of the season, which is exactly what Cam was able to do.
We saw a similar story with Ryan Callanan last year, and then of course Ryan really cemented the deal with the win here in this very location.
Tanner Gadauskas, he has the priority, so Marcus has to be careful. If there he is, up and riding. Sorry, take that back.
Well, Tanner here, not all the way out, by the way. He's picked it up sort of midpoint on the, we call it a point break, but it's more a reef break. So it's managing the economic investment, but also protecting and nurturing the natural environment.
Exactly. So it's just it's a nice piece to be added to a zone that's been influenced by riding waves.
Here's the Brazilian as we go under 90 seconds. Herrera searching for the 7-1-7. Little medium inside wave. You've got to get vertical. You've got to sting that lip. There's a bit of a blunt turn from the Brazilian. Not quite getting into full gear on this one. Maybe there's still something on the inside. Bashes it around, swings the board 180. And it's dangerous in there. So that final section, you may ask, why is he not tagging that last lip? Well, that's going to go right up against the boulders at the bottom of that cliff that we saw on the wide shot.
That too. I mean, we'd more sacrifice the body than the board at this point, though. Depending on the situation.
Here's the American, Cam Richards, last minute, so he's got to bring a big score to us. Little sideways ditch of the fins there. 7.43 first and foremost on his mind here. Now, when you see a surfer starting to stand on the back, you know that he's going to try and tee up something that wave is not going to offer him anything, and the body language will write the story. Does not look like Correa or Cam Richards are going to threaten. The more, you can argue, the more experience of Tanner Gadauskas and Jean Duru, who both brought powerful deliveries on the backhand.
Looking for a big number, 8.54 his requirement. And he's had kind of slopey waves throughout this, go into that deep water.
The sun is starting to change the colour hues here from grey to blue. As we greet you with a good afternoon from beautiful Ericeira in Portugal. Herrera de Ilhas is the break for the fourth QS 10,000 of the season. Dick Cilliers and Peter Mel joining you to call heat number 7 in the draw. Sorry, my apologies, heat number 6. Let's get stuck into it. Want to keep that story moving forward to guarantee himself that year-end qualification. There are explosive surfers in the lineup like Ericeira and Gatti and Delahaye. Well, breakout results if they come in this format in the QS 10,000s. You see the big shake-ups on the qualifying series standings. Here's a man that has his game in order in 2019, Miguel Pupo. Get him on the wide shot, two-turn combo. I have a question mark on that second maneuver.
Right in your searing the eyeballs. Judges would have issues too if we get too late in the day, so they may end up having to wrap it up before too long. But there's the second wave for, nope, that's Ericeira's first, which just came in, and that's a pretty good number, 517. Is that what that's saying? 617.
Well, Ericeira just placing a single score. Get
like
Tanner Gadauskas into the booth, Pete.
I was going to say, yeah, talk about visual cues on how to actually surf the Herrera de Ilhas. You just got to go out and do some hopscotch for your warm-ups.
Yeah.
Look at that. Almost got a barrel going on there. Gatti and Delahaye through the glare. That's one thing that'll come into play, I think, in the afternoon here. Is it, look at the replay here. Tomas. And first turn, gliding through the foam. And every time you see a surfer, they'll make the choice. Oh, he slid out. See, that's what's happening with the bubbles in the water like that. Your grip. You can camp. Plenty of places to park your vehicle and do that and that stuff. So there's, like you said, there's plenty of different ways to experience it here.
Sunstone to shine on our lineup here in Herrera de Ilhas. Get another ride unfolding for Gatti and Delahaye. Seeing a little bit of a silhouette starting in the afternoon light here. Local time now 3:30 in the afternoon. Gatti has got some rail work to offer the qualifying series, and he's putting together some decent numbers. He is already the heat.
Quickly. But this wave here, trying to improve on his low, which was just a throwaway number. So this one, not going to be an exorbitant number, but adding points to his total every time he stands up. I think that's a goal in a half an hour heat. Every time you want to take a wave, you want to be building on your scoreline. That's ultimately, it doesn't always happen that way, but if you do that very often, I think you'll make a lot of heats.
No, it's a great mental note.
I'll get to see the replay here of Miguel Pupo, but it looks like it's just going to be a nominal score. Yep, just the 0.8.
You don't have to say anything. You can just glare. Get a glare from
and the Jake Patterson glare can be
it's
pretty piercing,
pretty stealing. Here's Thomas Fernandes, the Portuguese input to the heat. The young Billabong rider trying to build numbers. Now you watch the kind of waves he selects in the lineup. This one looked pretty small when he took off, but now here's the shape and form that offers him a lip line on the inside, and he'll tag it a number of times. And that really is actually his first meaningful number, Pete. Prior to that, just a couple of throwaways.
Didn't look like that much of an impressive wave when he took off, but he saw something down the line. He saw that it was going to build through to the inside, which it does, as you can see right there. So you're talking about the read that he had, that final section. We'll also take a look here at Miguel Pupo. We're waiting on this score. Already has just a 3.67 in his scoreline, so really needs to get 2 waves here in this next 13 minutes. And we're watching this one. We saw his forehand to success at the Avanca Galicia Classic Surf Pro, and now get to see his backhand just as solid. And this is going to be his best wave so far. So nice work there from Miguel.
Beautiful region, a world surfing reserve. And the faces on the waves are starting to get a little glossier for us. Will be this one a little bit lumpy. It's no problem for heat leader Gatti and Delahaye, as he'll get to work trying to drop his 387, and he'll come from behind for a big hit to the lip. These are the kind of numbers that will fetch scores.
Nice.
And he'll knife that one, and that will really get him cementing that top end of the heat.
Now get some numbers matching his competitors, and then this one, look at the second wave of the set. First section looked like it was going to be a nice section, but it backed off, but then loaded up nicely for here. And those 2 turns that he gets at the end of this one tagging it in the lip, nice and critical, and then the carve, so good variety and some powerful arcs for Gation. And Look at that number that came in. I think it's going to be a, well, no, not yet.
Well, I think judges are going to eat that from behind the section rail drive. I don't mean to do all the analysis, but I like the quiet body language from Pupo in between turns.
Yeah, it's not pumping the board, fidgeting the board. It's keeping that flow nice as we watch the replay here of Aritz. Down carve there, and that's it.
Slipping under the 9-minute mark in the encounter. Just around at 96. Here goes Pupo again, looking to just find that backup score now. Oh, weightless! And Pupo will spill over the front. Thomas Fernandez wrapping a turn. The local in the heat can boast the most intimacy with the lineup as far as wave selection goes. We haven't got anything special out of Thomas Fernandez just yet, but this one is rolling down the reef at a pace. Bit of broken water to deal with. Of course, a lot of people on the beach supporting Thomas Fernandez. Let's go down and throw it to Ben Mundy. What have you got for us?
Let's talk about that new retail shop. I mean, there is a 3-story high surf image of him that you cannot miss.
Well, maybe they'll build one like that in Guadalupe one day.
You wonder if the statue is actually emulated from him up there on the top of the hill.
The tall, skinny figure?
Yeah. He won't give up. I'll tell you that right now. And here he is, looking like a pretty nice looking wave.
Glassy wall here. Knifes into that. Aritz got the center of gravity real low. Now that wave is not going to pay a dividend on the inside section, so one maneuver contribution.
You can see a wave from Jake Marshall. Can play a bit of defense. Swinging on that rail. A little bit of a bumpy section here. 4.9 his back up.
Second spot.
Well, Pupo opens the wingspan, knifes it. Really good squared up hit at the end.
Picking up waves, I would say that's probably going to stay your first and second.
Slamming that section shut.
With him having 2 solid events back to back and moving up into number 2 on the rankings, all of a sudden now he feels like, yeah, I'm back on tour for the most part. I mean, he could say in his mind that he's pretty good there. It's not official, of course.
Gatti and Delahaye took off, wanting to improve on a 6, Pete. Down to 1 minute to go, so we won't see more from Delahaye, and I don't think we'll see more from Pupo.
Looking for a big number, 8.54 his requirement. And he's had kind of slopey waves throughout this. Go into that deep water. Sunny skies and pumping waves greet you at Ribeira Dilhas, the EDP Billabong Pro Ericeira. Heat 7 of round 2 out in the water. It's an absolute smoker of a heat. Jake Marshall on an absolute roll here in Europe this autumn. He's fired himself up into the top 5 on the qualifying series, taking on Nat Young. And he is taking on Vicente Romero, the Spaniard. And Andy Criet also representing Spain. Here goes Andy now, the big rangy physique. Originally from the French town of Onday, right on the border. He could take off on a right-hander and pretty much surf his way across the border into Spain. And representing that region from the Iberian Peninsula, of course the neighbouring country to Portugal, where we are now. As we will just see real nice swell on the rise. What we enjoying about the day, it's up 8,000 points up there. He's absolutely on a tear on the QS. His surfing looks really, really sharp. He's found himself a wave here. Just kind of waiting at a midline position as he'll kind of flick down off the top. And then Schraupin through, holds that rail nice and clean all the way through that turn in kind of troubled water, and then he'll get another little rail slice that will go into kind of a lumpy section on the end of a wave, but a reasonable opener for Jake Marshall. He would love to get a spot back on that championship tour. And here he goes. So we'll look at a wave from behind. Now we know all about what he can do. You think that some of his performances are Sunset Beach down the years, taking on big sections on right-handers. Well,
he's made the final at Bell's, no less.
A Bell's finalist, so all
in
that
his
prestige.
Rookie year. So.
And let's see if he can advance out of this one and keep the ball rolling. Here goes Nat Young. And just a softer kind of wave for Nat here. So lateral surfing for him. He'll just kind of try and get an inside. Hasn't done much damage so far on this one. A little bit of more impetus to his surfing as he'll just get a little 2-turn combination on the inside and a good finish as well. Meanwhile, Andy Criet, powerful Spaniard, gets a little caught on his rail on that turn, but he recovers well. He's a super fit athlete, Andy. Has a lot of physical training. As you would expect, all of our surfers do. He keeps himself in really good nick, does Criet. And did well to just finish off there. He got a little bit caught out the back. But very encouraging bins. We're seeing this surf jump up in terms of qualifying series. Well,
Europe's been pretty good to us so far this year.
It's a massively complicated system, but we saw Billy Stearman's kicking around the event. He has all but locked up that Pacific spot for New Zealand, which is pretty epic as well. So yeah, it's starting to become a dream, this whole surfers as Olympian things. I just can't wait to see guys marching in colourful tracksuits around the opening ceremony.
Now I'm back in, so hopefully make a few more heats and finish it up strong.
And you said even at the start of the year it wasn't working, all to plan. It clicked in Pantene and started then. Is there one moment when you thought, okay, wow, this is happening now, or it's just been more of a gradual thing in the last sort of month?
Horizon going dark for our athletes out in the water. Who can position himself on the peak? Crier will have priority. And this looks like Andy, as he will go miles behind away a section.
Yeah, this is a big clean-up set, just mowing through the lineup. So fair bit of duck diving in the futures of all competitors right now.
And we are about 40 clicks north of Lisbon, the capital city, and very much in the heart of things in the wave-blessed nation of Portugal. As we will see upright riding and attempt here. This is Nat Young, your heat leader. A nice first belt off the top from Nat. The speed that he controls on the rail is incredible. That's a big old hit as well from Nat. Doesn't mind the power, Nat Young. And he'll jam another one. He'll look for a strong finish here. And that is a great way to consolidate first place position.
The replay of Nat's wave stood up pretty nicely. Had to put the foot down to get around that first section. Drives his rail through a long first turn, throws plenty of spray, and does it again on the second section. And I really like the release he got out of the tail. Sets it up with that one, and then here quickly just up and over, whips the tail back and forth, and that's going to be a wave of this heat so far. 12 minutes to go. This looks like he's at Romero.
Romero with a little pin drop exit. That one will just rattle off. He took that one deep up the point, and he was way too far behind to come around the section, delivering a fresh building groundswell to the iconic surf spot of Herrera Dilas, the EDP Billabong Pro. Here goes Vincent Romero, one of our two Spaniards out in the water, with a little wrapping jam on the outside. This wave will go soft here. He's had a few like that, Vincent. He's not had a good read on conditions so far in this one. A little bit deeper under the point. We'll see Romero, our Spaniard, take off on a little inside number, and again from him, he's just a little bit confused as to where he wants to be in the lineup. He's done that a few times now. Just had waves that stand up and then back off for him. However, even though he's in fourth at the moment, it's not a high scoring affair. Jake Marshall in second. He's got low numbers. Meanwhile, here's a swing on an inside for Romero. He'll get a little clipping snap turn, and it's a softer wall. He'll engage the rail a little bit tentatively. It's not overly convincing. There's a nice little snap from him. Nevertheless, it's not going to be anything to get particularly excited about. You just compare the kind of energy and the juice that Nat Young found. It's going to be a small score for Vincent. Meanwhile, here goes Marshall on an absolute tear in Europe. Nice turn. I love how long he holds that rail off the top. Such a polished surfer. And a little bit of an extra gear compared to most of the field. Ian Galicia just surfed really well in that event for a big finish, and he's lit up his qualification campaign in Europe this September. Still swinging on an inside, little stab into the lip, and he'll just belt that a few more times. And that's smart surfing from Jake Marshall. Didn't need to try and do too much. Like the manoeuvre selection, you think about his scoreline, well, he's going to threaten that with that last wave bit.
We were talking about Caleb Tancred earlier, just has shot up a lot, filled out a little, and is growing into his surfing. Here's Nat Young releasing the tail, beautiful first turn. He'll stick with this one, drives his rail through that second big gouge. And this is one of those sort of mid-size in-betweeners that just has great shape you were talking about, Paul.
Really nice timing from Nat Young, because he doesn't try and do too much with his turns. So that one little section offer itself, didn't it? He saw the opportunity and he grabbed it, just tweaking out that tail slightly.
And locked in those waves. Jake Marshall's played priority well, and we've seen the two Spaniards, Vincent Romero and Andre Crier, just sort of chasing down whatever they can. This is a great looking wave for Andy.
Big hit from Crier out the back. This is much more like it from him, and he'll fit that one in as well. He won't get a completion on that, which will hurt his scoreline. But I love the first turn, and he really attacked that one. He got out in front of it a little bit timing wise, and that just allowed him to give it a good clout with that backhand. You can see he's a little bit annoyed he didn't finish. But nevertheless, he will improve, we think, on his score. He's only got a couple of threes so far. As we see a wave from Jake Marshall. He can play a bit of defense, just swinging on that rail. On a little bit of a bumpy section here. 4.9 his back up. be trying to improve, as well as, of course, hold off any potential late charge. And we'll see Romero looking for a big number, 8.54, his requirement. And he's had kind of slopey waves throughout this, go into that deep water. That's exactly what that one will do as well.
Yeah, Pete Mel just fist pumping in the commentary box. His hometown brother in Nat Young looks like he might have taken the win. He's definitely assured himself a position in the next round. Last score comes in for Jake Marshall. A 3.87 does not go into his top two. Not to worry, he's still going through in second. So the two Californians getting it done in Heat 7 of round 2.